go. Okay.
All right, cool. We're back. So AL, they go for the first pick Rumble. Again, we had some rumblings about whether or not Flandre was going to be, you know, the guy to be on carries, but makes sense when we talk about them playing here in game number 1. But I think the Varus pick is kind of a trap. Despite it being so good at being able to cut away at some of the team fighting potential from AL.
Much better on them, but if they are going to go for this, then you know, maybe they're see what they're going to port later on. Obviously, you have the options to go into the poke bot lane, or you could always throw a tank engage with that Varus. We're seeing that Pantheon get locked in for Aki. So even without the Talia, you know, this champion with his global is still pretty incredible and a very high priority.
Yeah, I think it also just makes sense for a player like Aki, what he wants to be able to do, which is just skirmish early, maybe even cover for some of his side lanes, especially in Doinb. So we'll see what AL are going to be able to answer with. I am assuming that they're just going to be picking up jungle on 3, which they end up doing with Jhin and Xin Zhao. So poke their opponents in some of these instances, and hopefully with some of the stronger laning phases.
Not back? Is it just me? I've heard it's not just me. Is it just me? I've heard it's not just me, but I don't know. Alright, anyway. Second half of the picks and bans, and Bessa getting taken away. Alistar also off the board. We're going to take out the Poppy as well, trying to make sure that this Galio and this Pantheon are not disrupted in the slightest. See what the final ban is going to come out here for anyone's legend.
Hey!
Is back, baby. Let's go.
All right,
you can't
all right.
keep this dude down.
Yeah, sorry to everybody. Hopefully we can get some of these technical issues down pat. It's obviously affecting us as well, so thank you for being patient, and hopefully this is something that we can resolve as we go on. But we're getting into the back end of drafts. We see a large focus on supports coming out, especially with 3 of the last 4 bans going towards them. And I like this Nautilus. I just feel like NIP are so low damage. Like, you can burst one target, but when I look at AL, who are you really going for? Like, maybe Flandre and Hope on their 2 picks, but I'm assuming Flandre is going to get access to Azonia's Hourglass at some point, either third or, if it gets to that point, kind of an item break point. And then, are you going for Xin Zhao? Not really. There's just so much, like, there's a lot of lockdown. So that I feel like this is setting up for some kind of Doinb counter pick, because this Galileo can go topside. You're playing in a Rumble. It would make the most sense. And we did just end up seeing an Akali come out for Doinb most recently, but I feel like you really need damage from at least one other role here.
Yeah, it can't be his typical supportive style. We're seeing that Akali get hovered, and it will indeed be the lock-in. I really like this because this does mean that your Galio is able to protect your Pantheon, protect your Akali when they go in, try to keep them upright because, as you mentioned, a little bit of low damage coming out from them, so getting that extra damage, making sure that they can...
Hopefully we can kind of see what solo kill will be able to do on this Galio. He has to take up a lot of space this game, and I'm still not sold here. I'm still not sold on this NIP draft. I feel like, yes, you've given Doinb a little bit of laning prowess with the Akali, but his strength has almost never been playing laning phase. It has always kind of been being able to move, shift over, maybe drop a wave here or 2, and be really, really impactful in team fights. So NIP, they need to find angles, they need to be able to find ways to get into fights, and I think kind of, I guess, escort their mid laner into these team fights. Otherwise, they're just going to be up a creek with no paddle.
Yeah, this is something you talked about earlier, too, about how, you know, Shanks, not the greatest laner in terms of like lighting the world on fire, but you know, with a player on the other side like Doinb who tends to roam around a lot, try to help out elsewhere, that this would be very favorable for Shanks. I wonder if Doinb is going to fall into that trap because sometimes you just need to play for yourself, man. And when I look at the champions on my team, I hope he knows that he's going to play for himself this game.
Yes, if Azir can just get some items, man, you're literally so safe. You have a Leona, a Jhin, a Xin Zhao. Everything kind of feels like it's set up for them. So jungler starting on same sides of the map. with Azir getting early push, I think there could be an angle for Aki to maybe look for something early on. He is going for a bit of a modified clear, giving himself an option onto either of his solo lanes. Seeing that battle for level 2 go on here between our two bottom lanes.
So NIP are going to win that battle, as Kael is going to be the one engaged on, but VODS Legend do end up hitting level 2. A fourth shot goes down as well as a roof, but he still wants in. The cleanse gets used, has to flash away, but going to follow up as Hope, and the fourth shot lands. It's first blood going over anyone's Legend, and now they're going to look for ppgod next. He's got nowhere to go, as Hope will finish him off with a fourth shot too.
Let's go. All right. Well, when we talked about for NIP, this bottom lane maybe trying to get some action done. Again, big question for skill shot control was for Leave, and now here early on, AL, their bottom lane, already rocking up to the 2v2. Incredible stuff to see, especially from a bot lane duo that went from 0 to hero within the past 6 months, honestly.
Yeah, and for NIP, one of their big hallmarks is this bot lane that's been quite good, despite the fact that the team has not. And when you lose the 2v2 like this, pretty devastating for your chances to win a game.
Yeah, the cleanse coming out before the ignite is probably the most damning part of it, and then losing all of your summoner spells. Now you want to see both junglers, again, could be pathing down bottom side, and if eventually you see that swap around 4 minutes, as we see here at 3.5, I mean, Xin Zhao is going to very easily be able to make something happen, if not clear or make sure that he is panning around Flandre, saving him from this dive. A single Scryer's Bloom is actually going to spot out Aki. Flandre's got to be careful. They should know that Tarzan's going to be in the area.
All right, it's time to rip it. You really have nothing to lose here. Things have already gone bad. The engage is on. Tarzan lagging behind. ppgod's forced to flash away. Aki takes big damage on the church. Now the knockup goes
Leave
on
is
the
dead.
Leaf, who's got no summoners. I mean, this is just a disaster right now. Flandre's going to flash after Aki. What the hell's going on, Alk Battery? Anyone's Legend are just crushing NIP.
Yeah, like, ppgod is level 2 still. He walks up, tanks the turret. He can only tank 2 autos, and they don't even have enough damage. Flandre getting the scrap shield does enough. He ends up living. That's another 2 kills going over to anyone's Legend, and hell, they are the expected favorites, but...
Oh, Kael?
Oh my god.
Kael is dead. What the... Okay.
All right,
You know,
gotta give a
at
freebie.
first-
Gotta give a freebie,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you know,
still,
they're back
this
in the game. They're feeling good.
Sure.
Maybe not.
You are still so ahead. It is 4.5, almost 5 minutes. You are 1,500 gold up. Hopes is going to be able to push this out. He'll be able to walk it back. Half of this wave will be missed by solo kill, including the minion wave that ended up going down when he had left the first time. So, still impressive stuff coming in from anyone's Legend, and I think quick on the, very, very quick thinking coming in from Tarzan about, hey, I was going to go back towards mid, maybe try to screen, find something around Shanks, but I just saw Pantheon bottom lane. Let's protect this lane, protect them on the dive. Really great job coming in from anyone's Legend early on.
Yeah, it was a really smart move there. Tarzan, who, has been the soul of the team, has been so integral to their success. One of the smartest junglers to ever play the game, as many have said. Just making another nice move there, and it's only a 1,200 gold lead, but when it's 5.5 minutes into the game, only 1,200 may as well be a goddamn mountain to climb at this point, right? With 700 gold going the way of Hope. Now, this dragon is up. I do wonder when this is going to get taken. It feels like anyone's Legend is in a really good spot to just start another fight, win this fight, take objectives, and then bring the game home from there.
Yeah, one thing I might note is that they don't have a ton of damage down on mid right now. Doinb just uses teleport to get back in the wave, but he's already getting shoved off of this. So they'll be lacking mid priority, so it seems like AL instead are going to try to answer through this lane, through this bottom lane wave. Aki and ppgod are going to show.
Yeah, Doinb is going to try to chase him down. It's shoved into the turret, perfect execution to get out. So ends up being much ado about nothing there, but Shanks doing well to keep mid control.
Okay, so using the flash and the ultimate, obviously not great. They're going to try and see if they can make this die, but the minion wave, not great. Deadly Flourish is down.
Yeah, he's cooked. No shot. Fourth shot coming through. Hope is now 3-0. And these ninjas are in footy pajamas, man, because every move they make, they're just slipping.
Yeah, it does not look good now. There probably is going to be no dragon start here coming in from anyone's Legend, but the fact that they've controlled this bottom lane so well, even Hope getting a topside plate for himself during all of that swap and Flandre surviving, I think is such a massive boon. And I mean, you're looking at it, the play in mid never worked. They left Leave by himself, but somehow didn't place enough vision for him to know that this was going to be happening, or maybe not without enough information there for himself. So instead, AL, they're going to rotate their bottom lane. Again, Leave is going to be picking up this wave by himself, but at least this time, not a ton of the AL members will be there to try to dive him. It's going to be an early start and push for anyone's legend to try to get onto these grubs.
See how adventurous he wants to be down there if he's seeing ghosts. Meanwhile, they're looking to make NIP into ghosts. Kael coming through as well as Tarzan. They're pinching solo kill, who is quite low. First couple of minions are going to go down and flash forward with the taunt as well. Pantheon ultimate coming through too. They managed to make it a 1-for-1 for right now, but then set their sights on Aki, who is going to do well to try to protect himself, but he manages to get rooted. Takes some more damage, but will be able to walk out as it looks like grubs are on the menu for AL.
What is... So Leave, instead of moving down, okay, yeah, he just missed an entire plate for himself. I have a lot of questions. I feel like Leaf should have been hitting this turret the entire time. He does not have enough movement speed to ever get close to mid, especially not having any boots. Doesn't have the Yomus early. So he should be really focused on hitting this, as right now we're seeing an NIP. I'm just surprised there was no Galio ultimate. As soon as the Deadly Flourish is used and there's no minion wave there, that should be, you know, Galio trying to escort himself way back out of the mid lane, the top side here.
Okay, they're going to try to make a quick play onto Aki here. He gets knocked up and he will go down. But Galio coming through with a big 3-man taunt as well. Good damage. And the perfect execution from Doinb getting that kill. Tarzan getting a little low, but Hope is still relatively healthy. He'll get hooked up. And they swat Doinb down. Tarzan looking to walk out, but Leave is in the area. Solo kill will take that one for himself. Gotta feel bad if you're Leave.
I mean, you just used a ton of summoner spells. Leave, walked all the way from the bottom lane, moved into mid, used his ultimate, and then didn't get any kill credit. He got local experience, all the while Flandre pushes in a bottom wave. It just feels like NIP are not on the same page. They are not executing mechanically either, so kind of a double whammy of all of the worst things that potentially happen. I'm currently looking at the mini-map right now because Flandre doesn't have teleport. This fight is only close, by the way, because this wall that's sitting around the river entrance doesn't fully push other players thanks to the Azir ultimate. But I'm looking at Leave in the mid lane right now. He's walking. He's walking. He's going to get no kill credit for this. Most of his team is going to die during all of this play. And then Galio just taking the kill just feels like cherry on top. Worst thing that could happen. 500 gold to shut down as well. I mean, AL, look at how strong they are. We are at 10 minutes. We have completed first item for Tarzan and for Hope. That is a massive win for them.
Hey now, don't look now, but solo kill 4-1. He's got his first item too.
True.
He's dangerous. Went into the business for himself in that fight, and you know, that maybe is just a communication diff, right? Leaf saying, hey, don't kill that guy. I got him, but did not have him. Tarzan is going to clean up the rest of the grubs here as they were left behind for a little bit, but he's going to make sure that his favorite camp is secured.
All right, well, 3 grubs for AL. Very good on the side lane, especially for NIP, who are a team that, I mean, for right now, look like they want to be a team that kind of moves from side lanes inward towards an objective, towards the mid lane, and AL can just kind of play on 2 lanes. Very easy to gain push on a side lane with a Rumble, have a Azir and Jhin kind of sit in mid lane so that they always have priority. They can even move the Jhin around, especially with this Yomu's build that we've been seeing recently.
Oh, ppgod is in a lot of trouble. Aki is coming through, trying to keep them away. They're going to land the hook on Kael, and Kael going to go down to Leave here. Comes on from Solo as well. They're on to Tarzan as NIP make a nice team play there to grab a couple of kills.
Yeah, that's exactly. You can kind of see that AL were a little afraid. They're like, okay, we know Aki is here. We know that Leave is sitting in mid. Is this fight on ppgod real? And it doesn't even have the Galio heroic entrance. So Solo Kill's able to walk on through. They did get the teleport out from Doinb, but I think considering the fact that you're able to at least pick up 2 kills, as well as the first dragon in the game, finally we're getting some semblance of a game from NIP. It's not just going to be an all-out slaughter from anyone's legend.
Yeah, and that's something that we really expected out of this game from anyone's legend, especially with the start that they had. But even before that, right, this has been a team that has had a couple of fumble moments, but overall has been one of the cleaner teams in the league. And you know, we're just really wanting them to play something super clean from start to finish, which is not something we've really seen in the LPL. Obviously not something the LPL's been known for over their entire time, but
Yeah.
you know, when you see a matchup like this, you're expecting, like, you know, suit and tie, total domination. AL gets the job done maybe before Baron even spawns, but that is not the case here. Getting pulled into the muck that NIP can do to you sometimes, and now NIP with burgeoning strength, and maybe solo kill will actually have a larger impact in this game.
Hell, he's really tanky, but I think the reason why we've kind of seen that level of performance from AL and kind of be the noob killers or noob stompers is really just the fact that, I mean, even you look at the core of this team, right? Like Shanks, Hope, and Kael, they were on WE in years past. That team was not particularly impressive, but they got Tabe last year and kind of made a push with Kroko. Eventually they picked up Ala, and that kind of turned the fates around for that team. But even Tarzan and Flandre, all 5 of these players are not really known as like mechanical, highly proficient players, and really feel more like systems players where if they're given a strong outline, if you give them some okay champions, they're going to be able to perform and execute a pretty decent game plan from start to finish. And I think that's where actually AL have started to crumble a little bit, especially when we see them play against a team like Top Esports, who are going to look to try to hands check you at all times. Even a team like NIP, who, again, we said the name of the game for them is push, try to find any kind of advantage, try to find a team fight. And I think that's also why we see Aki and ppgod constantly together in this game.
Oh, they're going to walk right into this, but guess what? The Galio coming in to try to save the day. Taunt lands on the backside. There's Doinb too, but Flandre rolls out the red carpet for them as they start to burn away. The health bars are low, but it's so hard to take them down. Leave can't grab a kill. Roof goes down on the Nautilus.
No,
Now
Leave.
Shanks gets on top of Leave. And just like that, okay, at least NIP get one on the back half, but Aki's going to get burned alive too. That is a 4-for-1 in favor of anyone's legend.
Just right there. Again, we're fighting in a choke versus a Rumble, a Jhin. This feels like absolutely a Hail Mary of a play coming in from Ninjas and Pyjamas. Even Leave there, trying to get damage, but now you're at the very least you're corralling yourself in the red the red pull pit. Like, you now used cleanse, so any engage coming in from Kael is just going to be deadly. So you see the start of this fight. Doinb is on a flank. Maybe with ppgod and the rest of the team, this actually turns into a relatively decent fight. But I'm seeing right here, the best part of this for NIP was the fact that Leave gets this massive chain of corruption down. But now you put yourself in this position. Half health Azir, very easy to fly in on. Obviously Curtain Call alongside the Azir ultimate just makes it so much easier for AL to fight. NIP, 1 step forward, 2 steps back now, and there's no objectives for them to really lose during this point, but it's about getting mid-priority. You're losing waves, you're already down gold from the early game. I think you're really starting to accentuate some of these weaknesses that we saw from them.
Leave has to feel particularly sad about that fight. Not sure if you saw, but aimed that arrow, knocked it back for Kael and Hope, and the synchronous flash from the both of them just to dodge it out when it looked like it would have taken them both out. Would have put at least a little bit more gold in his pocket. Could have changed the complexion of the fight, I don't think so, but certainly would have felt a little bit better as the Rift Herald gets taken by anyone's legend up on the top side in exchange for the turret that solo kill picked up first turret of the game.
I feel like, part of this game would actually feel a lot better for NIP if they actually were able to get any of the grubs, because AO have not really been able to take very many structures. They've gotten some good chip damage down. Obviously, we talked about top lane when we saw that Hope and Kael made that early swap, but now with 3 grubs, you're letting an Azir get to level 13, get closer and closer to what looks to be a Rift Maker here, second item from him. He's going to have so much HP already with the Leandries on top of that, so he's just getting more gold. He's getting chauffeured really into a lot of this gold and experience lead that he'll have over Doinb. And I mean, right now it's been solo kill on a side lane, but I mean, that just doesn't matter right now, right? Like, you're playing as NIP, you're playing this composition where your solo lanes have such a big impact on team fights. You really need to kind of push your lanes and then try to force for an advantage somewhere from the side of NIP.
Yeah, try to get a sneaky kill, right? This is something that they're pretty good at, right? Where a Pantheon can show up out of nowhere, where a Galio can show up out of nowhere and quickly turn the numbers on a fight. Anyone's legend clearly want this dragon. They're going to drop the Rift Herald in the mid lane here for further control of this bot side river as Doinb continues to just side lane up top.
Doinb's picking up this wave. This is fine. AL, they haven't started up the dragon. I really feel NIP should not be trying to contest this, but I can see that there's a little bit of trepidation there. Doinb is now waiting with teleport. He is coming on through with a massive flank, as well as his Pantheon ult.
All right, we're going to go all the way in. Taunt coming down, but Hope is free hitting right now. Aki is going to fall. Doinb on the backside, going in on the Flandre, but pushed away by Shanks. He's in and gets a kill, but won't be able to take down Shanks as he falls. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, Hope is going to open up this curtain call as NIP have a couple of numbers, but the snipe by Hope. Leave with a sidestep, trying desperately to get away from Hope, and he will be able to. And when the dust settles off battery, it ends up being a 4-for-4.
Yeah, and even the mid-wave here, AL getting small margins in this fight. I'll be honest, I have not been impressed with Leave on Varus. His spells, accuracy when it comes to throwing out the Varus spells has not been great. Even his Ezreal. I think his Ezreal is actually not all that bad, but I really like when he's able to just right-click his opponents. That has been by far away his best style of marksman. So the fact that they don't really have access to a strong Varus in this game, he's barely halfway through the Murabana at this point. I feel like you're looking down a 7-0 Jhin, who is almost 2,000 gold. It will allow for NIP to potentially start at this dragon, but you look, AL are already back in position, and you're missing a ton of summoner spells. You're missing a lot of those big teamfight ultimates that we wanted to see from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Okay, well, Leave might be called out here as Tarzan is just going to run him down. Kael gets credit for the kill as they're ready for this dragon fight. It's secured by NIP, but a nice equalizer coming out from Flandre. Even if the team can't save him, he'll be damn sure that they can avenge him as ppgod goes down next. Doinb caught up against the wall and he falls. Solo kill, finding it hard to try to get away from these guys as Kael is going to stun him. Tarzan's going to go in and they will dive this turret because they don't have enough damage to do a damn thing to anyone's legend. A 4-for-1 for AL.
All right, well, NIP, they got the dragon, but not looking good. More kills. Look, 2 item Azir at 19 minutes. Yo. That is all you really need to know. Even the fact that the CS is very close kind of tells a bit of a different tale, but fantastic find out from Tarzan. Knows that his flash is down at the time being, even the cleanse, just not worth it. And Flandre, despite getting taunted, he takes a lot of their time from NIP. You can see right here, the Galio engaged, the Rumble ultimate is just cooking all of them. I think the observers are trying to show us Doinb in this failed ult too. Oh my god, no. That is painful to watch for the Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, he had a failed Shuriken flip near in that red buff fight earlier too. Just the wall was a little too thick and he wasn't able to do anything there. He is not particularly impressed on the Akali in this game. And Shanks with the 2k gold lead. Hope with the 2k gold lead in the bottom lane. It's just been the mid and AD carry who have just put in so much work for AL, as well as Tarzan. He's had a great game too.
Yeah, Tarzan is definitely making some stuff happen. Obviously, we talked about the bottom lane dive that we happened around 3.5, 4 minutes. So AL looks like their next objective is going to be starting up this Otacon. A single ward should have spotted Hope starting this up, but Doinb doesn't have teleport. He is on the other side of the map right now.
He is sprinting his way up. We'll see if he's able to get there by the time the fight actually breaks out. That answer is a no, as Kael's going to get engaged on first change of corruption.
Oh!
Shanks on the backside serves him up, and now they're going to turn on to Aki here, who gets knocked up, and he is caught between a rock and a hard place. Solo kill goes in, and he put himself on the wrong side of the wall, but hey, maybe him and Doinb can make some magic happen. Doinb initially getting knocked away and getting knocked up and going down. The perfect execution. He's the one who gets executed, and that is an ace for anyone's legend as they go back to Aki.
We are just restarting the Otacon. Yeah, this game is cooked. Poor laning phase, a couple of misplayed fights coming in from Ninjas in Pyjamas, and AL, they've just scaled very, very easily into their team composition. Just a massive production from all 5 of these players here. I feel like Kael and Tarzan were able to really be that duo that runs around the map, gets information, puts down wards, and is also able to just snap engage on the opponents. And I feel like the Flandre global taunt effect is in full way here, as every time they see him, they're like, guys, we can kill the Rumble. He just takes way too long to be able to take down with the Leandres and Riftmaker.
Oof. Well, you know, when it was a 2-for-0 in the bottom lane, you knew this was going to be a hard game for NIP. And they tried the turret dive, and it went even worse for them. that's when you knew it was going to be impossible. And now, anyone's legend to put the cherry on top. Tarzan has gone a little too far in. However, he is doing a great job to survive as Hope will show up. That equalizer goes down. Tarzan finally falls, but the health bars are just so damn low. And guess who joins the fight? It's Shanks to grab a double for himself. Hope will get the last kill here. It is another ace for anyone's legend. 31 kills in 22 minutes. They're just having a ball out here.
I want to thank you, AL. Please just make this game quick, because we have seen them lose against the most random teams of all time. They lose a series to FPX, 2-1 in favor of FPX. They lose a series to JDG, who still looks like they're on a bit of a wobbly kind of start to their, or back end of their season. A series up against Weiba that looks dominant. They lose to BLG. AL have not quite definitively been that second place team here in the back end of the round robin for LPL. And hopefully with games like these, we're able to put away the 9th place team in the group. I feel like this should be a very quick and sobering game here for the NIP.
Yeah, it is so tough to see that this is how far they actually have to go to make an impact in the LPL in 2025, right? Especially because, this was a team that they lost to anyone's legend, and then they lost to TES after they had such a good start to the split and split one, good start to the year. And after that, the meta change and everything, they've just tumbled down. They're not able to reclaim their former glory. And, at the end of the year, maybe we're just like, hey, you remember when Doinb got player of the split? When he got the MVP for split one? You remember when NIP was a team that we were like, this is a big playoff team. Like, they could do some crazy stuff. And it's just a remember when instead of a, wow, they are.
Hell, that's basically been TT's narrative here on the broadcast for like 6+ weeks at this point. So, not too surprised. I think NIP going into playoffs, though, was more of like a, you have to be better than this team. You have to be exactly this good to be able to get past us. I felt like they were definitely like a team that kind of preyed on some of the less experienced teams. But I feel like, especially for Group Ascend, the fact that they got 18 games, a bunch of best of threes, 2 series versus each of the Group Ascend teams has really, I think, leveled up all of these 10 teams. And hopefully it kind of means that, some of those bottom end teams that we were looking, like FPX and WE, are actually making really confident strides here in the regular season, whereas TT and NIP have just not really been able to get over that hump and, I think, push further here in the series.
We'll have to see if they're able to do anything in Game 2, because let's be honest, this Game 1, as you mentioned earlier, was cooked. Early on, it is super cooked now. Baron coming up here at the 25-minute mark. For those who may have not been watching too much League of Legends this year, that got pushed back. So, see if anyone's legend can pick this one up fairly easily. Use it to push and finally end the game. Yeah, please. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to keep it real for a second.
You have 3.5 item Azir, 11 and 0, 3.5 item Jhin. Please, if we can't take Baron, this is already very cooked. Right. Doinb's getting engaged upon, but he should be out with perfect execution. Teleport from behind.
Yep, here we go. Curtain call coming out, and down goes Doinb, but here comes the Galio. Big double knockup. Shanks has gone golden. He's going to be able to flash away from the taunt. Kael will fall, but here comes Flandre on the side with that equalizer, cooking him up. Solo kill dodging out on the roof of Flandre, and Shanks want more. They're going to look to chase him down. Double taunt from Solo kill. He'll be able to at least walk back into his base, but there's not going to be much to walk back to. As anyone's legend will ping the Baron.
No minion waves. Let's just go Baron. Let's go take this one. We're probably not ending this game for another like 3 or 4 minutes. So, Dragon spawns, and Yanni, this is exactly the kind of level of play that I think we should expect from our second place team. AL probably not going to be able to get first, as Leave, you just use both of your summoners, buddy. Sorry, man, you're just gonna die. 35-17. Like, I'm looking at the series score. You can see for AL it's 11-4, for Top Esports 13-2. I don't see Top Esports losing any more series the rest of this split, at least here in the regular season. So AL are really trying to make sure that they can keep that second place spot.
Yeah, it looks like they'll be able to if they continue to play like this. Obviously at times, especially earlier in the game, it was sloppy, but from there, every single fight has been relatively clean, going 4 for 1, 4 for 2. They had that one where they went 4 for 4, but in the end, it didn't really matter too much. And these flanks from Flandre and these equalizers have been pretty primo. 4-3 and 20 is his scoreline. He's not going to get a lot of love for that, but you know, as we said, those equalizers have been good. But some pretty score lines for Shanks and Hope. Hope 12-0 and 15, man.
Dude, like, look at them. Both of my carries are 4 and 0 right, or 4 items, I should say. And then there's a completed Zonius here for Shanks. Hope even has a completed Mauve Malmortius. This guy literally is going to take no damage from NIP. And hell, Lee finally hit 3 items, but I'm playing against a crit marksman. I'm so afraid. I'm down 5,000 gold to Hope.
Just a little bit of damage put down onto Kael and paid off in spades back at ppgod as 2 inhibitors have fallen. As the minions will pour into the base, these Baroned up minions going to be very hard for NIP to actually clear out. Tarzan's going to flash forward, not going to get much there. Doinb going to try to make it to the back line there. He gets knocked up. He's still going hard for Hope there, but Kael will save his carry. Meanwhile, on the other side, Flandre cooking up solo kill. It's going to be Shanks who gets the credit for those. On the backside, Aki falls, and game 1 goes to anyone's legend.
Oh, hell yeah, it goes to AL. 40 to 17, almost 18,000 gold lead. We take those. I'm really proud of the AL boys. Made that game look very easy from start to finish. Executed on your 2v2. You end up winning the Grubs fight as well. I think while NIP were really trying to invite some chaos here in this game, they just mechanically were not on the same page as each other, and a lot of these fights looked so sloppy.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's kind of hard to have that, too. It's really surprising because this is a composition where I don't want to say it's easy to execute, but your game plan is very obvious on what you want to do, right? You've got this Pantheon, you've got this Galio. Like, hey, let's let Doinb do his thing on a side lane. Let's let him get deep into a fight, or let's let the Pantheon get deep into the fight to kick things off after, you know, a Nautilus hook maybe comes in, and then you go from there, right? You go and you bring in the Galio, and they just never had that fight actually happen. And it's pretty disappointing. You know, they got off to that rough start, and it just kind of feels like their entire game plan fell apart.
I would be so happy if it was like, okay, Galio's ahead, but the rest of my team is going even. Fine, you know, like that's I think very reasonable. You looked at AL's team composition. Yes, eventually, like they would be able to kill someone like a Galio, especially the Azir, but I mean, just the fact that the 2v2 went so far below expectation here for NIP. This is some of the problems that we have been seeing from them all split long. It hasn't really felt like when we look at Ninjas in Pyjamas, they're really that stand out, especially in the first half of the round robin. They were like, okay, with this Noxus map, we're going to be fighting. We're going to be fighting every 3 minutes. You're just going to have to pick a better team to try to fight us early, or we're going to just try and run over you and constantly bowl you over with our wombo combos and some of our strong champions. Now, when the game is a little bit slower, I feel like this is really questionable for NIP, and even with solo kill coming on through, I feel like unless they're going to be doing exactly what we saw from them in game number 2 of TES, game 2 versus BLG, get us ourselves a Scion, feel like we're going to be having a very quick night, especially for the people out in Shenzhen.
Yeah, and this is something that, for NIP, we're not seeing anything new from them, right? We're not seeing like, hey, you know, they're developing some sort of a style, some sort of identity, right? I mean, there was only, at one point, that 4-for-4 where anything looked relatively okay. I hesitate to even really say that. They just did not have a great game at all, and nothing that we can be like, well, they did this right. Like, yeah, solo kill got a bunch of kills on Galio. Like, if that's what you're hanging your hat on,
yeah.
like, well, at least that happened. That's not something that you can build on. That's not sustainable. That is not going to maybe make you a threat in the play-ins whatsoever.
Yep, that's the post-game graphics. Literally 71
assists.
gold. 71 gold there was the highest difference for NIP in that series, or in this game.
100 total assists. Look at that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's a clean number. 40, 17, and 100. Good job from AL. Getting a lot of stuff done, but overall a rather flawless game coming in from anyone's Legends. Exactly what we expect, and especially as they go forward, AL having to play, I'm pretty sure tomorrow as well, actually, if I am correct. Because they have... No.
No, NIP has to play tomorrow. AL will play on Sunday.
Oh, true. True.
NIP has to play tomorrow after getting spanked in game 1, and then they got to play against IG. I mean,
that's
it's gonna
pretty
be tough.
rough.
What was the last time an individual team had 40 kills? Has that happened yet? This split, 40 is a big number for an individual team.
Individual team, probably. If I look over at our league, the average number of kills is 30, and our highest amount of kills is 64. And that was an NIP versus top esports game. That was the game that went 54 minutes. It's game 2 of TES versus NIP. Makes sense that ended up being both our longest game as well as our most bloody game. But 40 is a hell of a lot.
40 for an individual team? 40 for an individual team feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That is certainly going to be a lot of kills and a lot of decisions that maybe have to be made by the MVP voters. Alk Battery, I mean, I'm just totally in to give it to our boy. Yeah, I'm in to give it to our boy Hope. I mean, when you got a scoreline like that, I mean, like, when you're double killing the bot lane, you know, you can't not give it to him.
I don't know, man. Like, he goes deathless, which is probably going to add, a little bit more to, like, the fuel of wanting to give him MVP. I know that we were making a joke about if you don't die in a game, you're probably getting MVP if you're on the winning team. But when we looked at these two, we came in, and I have been the biggest Leaf shill on the broadcast, by a large margin. I gotta be honest, Leaf's positioning hasn't been great. I know in the draft we talk about that Varus is not really a champion that we really want to see him on, but you look at the stats, he has the highest DPM of any player, especially in his lane. He's number 1 in AD carries. He has the best damage percentage of any player. Again, a big focus on this NIP roster. He has some of the highest gold per minute stats of the entire league, which I feel like are a bunch of stats that you really want to be able to see from your marksman player, but especially for a guy that I know we talk about as being kind of like this weird in-between. He's gotten individual games, maybe some series, but hasn't really had a full starting gear here in the LPL. Finally, he gets his spot here in NIP. I feel like as a kind of a novice player, he is starting to make his name and starting to, I think, slowly build himself out. But you're playing against Hope. This guy has been, I think, the best AD carry in the league. Just kind of in combination with both stats and also just the eye test that we see, but he's been less flashy than some of his counterparts.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, I do wonder how much of some of the issues that Leaf has had as of late is due to the immense pressure that's on him in this particular team, right? It feels like he is really the only guy who can carry. Some of their NIP's best games have been putting Leaf on these champions that he has room to operate and kind of building the team around him. Not something they did in this first game, and guess what? It did not work out. I mean, obviously, things were not great from the start, and that could be put on his shoulders a little bit. But on the other side, Hope had a phenomenal start, 13-0 and 18, a sparkling KDA, and a well-earned MVP.
And if we're not including the placement stage, currently he is now tied at 7th place with JJ and the Shy. Now that he has 7, so
solid.
Good job for Hope. And yeah, that's the end of our first game coverage. Sorry to everybody for a lot of the technical difficulties. I'm hopeful that obviously that us here on the production end can try to get this stuff hammered out as we go throughout the night, as well as just in general making sure that you guys all have a smooth broadcast watching experience.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us. We really, really appreciate that. And before we